Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how I did this lace placement on my corset and also how to do a lace placement on your fabric. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So first, to start, you're going to place your lace on it and you're going to check the pattern that you want or design on the dress. And what you need is your invisible thread, but you can still use the same color of thread, but I prefer using invisible thread. And you're going to pin. So for this you need a body form like a mannequin, or the best is to use a pinnable mannequin, but I moved to a new place so I don't really have my mannequin right now, so I'm just going to do this without my mannequin. And while placing my lace on this fabric, I'm going to make sure it relaxes very well. So this is the comfort that your mannequin or pinnable mannequin will give you if you're using that. So since I don't have one now, I'm just going to make sure as I'm pinning, I'm going to make sure that the lace relaxes on my actual dress very well. And if you have a design or a pattern you want your dress to follow, that is the design on the lace, you're going to make sure you place it, check what you have before you can go ahead to start sewing. But before, you're going to start pinning and you're going to take note, like this part I have a deep neckline there, you're going to take note of that part also, and you're going to pin around it. And also I pinned under my cup to make sure that it is very firm on it, so that the lace does not shift, like the lace is not bigger or more than the actual dress. So I'll just go ahead and keep pinning this till I pin the whole or the upper part of my corset. So at the upper part also, you want to make sure you pin the upper part of your cup. That is where your cup starts from the yoke. You're going to pin it very well, and you're going to also pin the side underneath your cup. And when you're pinning this, you need to make sure that the lace sits properly on the main dress. So I'll just go ahead and pin this and also pin the side of my dress. So while pinning at your cup, most times you find out that your lace might not be relaxing. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut through it. You're going to cut through it and make sure that the part you're cutting through has like a design. Then you're going to take the part that has the design and you're going to overlay it on the other side, like use it to cover the other side, and you're going to pin. Then that will cover that part of your cup. And when you use your invisible thread to sew or tack, is not going to show. So you're also going to do this in places that you're having excess. So I'm just going to open this up to enable me pin very well. So because I'm not using any mannequin or body form, so I'll just go ahead and pin this, and I will stop at the part where I have my Ankara fabric. And if you notice, I have an excess which I'm going to go ahead to trace out. So if you're actually doing a lace placement for a skirt, you're going to use that skirt pattern that you cut out and you're going to use it to cut your dress. The only difference is that you're going to trim out the skirt sewing allowance. You just leave like ½ inch on the skirt sewing allowance that you're going to use to pin or sew the dress. So after pinning, I'll go ahead to pin the upper part also, and I'll check if I have any place that the lace is excess, and if I'm okay with what I have, I'll just go ahead to pin down, and I'll also pin this other side of my dress. She got my back, I'm happy that say everything I do is for my woman. So another place I'm going to secure very well is that part that we have the deep neckline and also on the cup. So after I'm done doing that, all I'm going to do is to trace this out. So while tracing this out, I'm going to be leaving about 0.3 inches round it. So if you want to cover this with an embellishment, you can just, after you're done tacking, you just trace the 0.3 or 0.5 inches that you're going to leave, and then use your bead to bead it out. So for this particular dress, I'm not beading it, I'm just going to leave it that way. So you want to be careful when you're also cutting out the deep neckline, and you're also leaving few inches on top, just like I said, and you're going to cut this all the way around, including the sides and the lower part of this dress. So I'll just go ahead and I will trace this out all the way down, and after cutting it, we're going to start stitching or tacking it down. She got my back, I'm happy that say everything I do is for my woman. To start stitching it, I'm going to pass my invisible thread through my needle, and I'm going to tie one side and then leave one side open, so that I'm going to be sewing with a single line of thread. That is, if you pass your thread through your needle, one side will be longer and the other side will be shorter. So you're going to pass your needle and thread, that is invisible thread. You're not going to tie it, and after passing it, you're just going to leave little and then pass it again. Hold down that part that you already stitched down because you did not tie them out. You left one part longer and the other part short. So on that same part again, I'm just going to pass my needle again. So if you pass it like twice, it's going to tie that part. So you're doing this because you don't want to have a knot on your dress. Then after passing this, I'll start sewing up the dress. So I'm just going to go ahead to pass my needle and thread through the fabric this way at the edge of the fabric. So after passing it, I'm going to also pass it at that same spot that it came out from, and then pass it again to the other part and then bring it out. So from that same spot again, I'm just going to pass my needle, and when you're doing this, please do it closely so that you're going to have a neat finishing at the end, at the edge of your fabric, and you don't have any gaping at that side. So I'll just go ahead and pass this. So it might be difficult for you to see this transparent thread because I'm actually doing this at night. I'm actually doing the video at night, so I'll just use my needle and thread to show you how to pass your thread without tying it at the end. So after doing this, I'll just go ahead and fold in that 0.3 inches I left again, and then I'll stitch on it. Then after stitching on it again, I'll still pass my needle at that same very spot and then bring it out at the next place. So from that next part again, I'm still going to repeat the same process of passing my needle. So at first, I'm just going to stitch round my dress, and then we are going to go ahead to tack at the cup and also at the body of the dress, so that it's going to be, the fabric is going to be fitted on the dress and it won't be moving if you wear your dress. Now I'll continue tacking this down till I get to the upper part of my cup. So when you're also tacking this, you're going to be passing your needle in between your fabric and the lining. The tacking or sewing is not supposed to show at the back of your dress. So I'll just continue doing this till I tack the whole dress on top round. So when you're tacking and get to that point that we had to cut the lace open and blend it up together, so you're going to make sure that you tack on top of that part that you use in placing the other side on it. And while tacking that side, you have a bra cup at that point. You want to make sure that you're tacking the fabric and the lace and not the cup itself. Then after tacking that, you're just going to continue and you're going to go up and then stitch round this part. And after I'm done stitching, this is what I have on this part, and this is how it is looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead to continue folding it a little, and I'm going to tack in. So if you're going to bead this, you're just going to, there won't be any need to even fold it in a little. You're just going to go ahead to tack and then trace it off. That is, trace off the excess you have and then use your bead to cover it. But I'm not using my bead, so while tacking down, I'm going to make sure that it's very neat, and that's why I'm using an invisible thread so that it will not show why I'm sewing. So I'll just go ahead and tack this all the way around and down to the lower part of my dress. So when you're tacking this part that has Ankara on it, you want to make sure that you fold in the little excess that you have on this point, and it's not on top of your Ankara. It's at that middle line before your Ankara and your crepe on top of the dress. So I'm just going to continue tacking or sewing this till I get to the end of the dress. And now we are going to stitch the cup side after we are done tacking the lower part. So there's a particular needle for actually doing this. That is the curvy needle. I don't really know the name, but I had an ordinary needle at home, so I just made use of it with my invisible thread. So after I was done tacking my dress, this is what I have. As you can see, the inside is looking neat, so there's no stitch on it. So after I'm done stitching, to tack it down, I'll just go ahead to pass my needle and thread again at this edge. That is that part that I started, and after that I will still go ahead and pass again on the same spot, and then pass my needle just like I'm tying it, and then I'll go ahead and repeat the same process there again and pass my needle in between the loop again, just like I'm tying my dress. And I'll go ahead and also repeat that again, pass my needle and thread, and then create like a loop and pass it in between it. So I'll do this like 3 times, and I'll just go ahead to chop or cut the invisible thread out. This is just to make sure that it is tied very well at that point. So now this is what the dress looks like at this point. So we are going to start at the cup part. So I'll start where I have a bead, and then I will pass, I will not tie, and then pass again, and then I'll be holding that spot if you notice, and then pass it again at that spot. So if you pass it like 2 or 3 times, it's going to be firm there, and then you're going to start tacking again. Now while tacking, I'm going to be tacking the lace to the fabric, and make sure that it doesn't pass through your cup and it doesn't show on the main lining of the dress. So I'll just continue stitching this, and I will pass, then go ahead to pass it on that same spot again, and then come out, and I will pass it again from that part and come out at another place, and from that point I'm still going to tack it and I will come out. So I'll just continue doing this till I tack down the under part of my cup, and I will also pass this through some other parts of the corset at the lower part. So at this point, if you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, and you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave your comment at the comment section. If you also have any question, please go ahead and leave it at the comment section.